It is so awesome to finally put something back up after a long time about all things Def Leppard. And I just want to thank a ton of you who've actually shown a lot of love and support for all the videos I've done on the entire discography and a few other additional things as well. Especially want to thank a lot of you guys for the love and support that you showed, not just me, but the band themselves. When I actually did that previous video, which is about the 5 reasons why people hate or dislike Def Leppard, and just how I deconstructed a lot of those arguments to find that there was really no merit in any of that. I mean, if you just don't like a band, you just don't like a band, but you can still respect a band. And I think that Def Leppard is a band that has shown us that they have not only won, but they have earned everyone's respect from the much wider music community, not just the rock community or metal community. And I think the case in point was what we saw in the month of March, and it was just so wonderful to actually see them finally being inducted into the prestigious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, what I would want to get into in this video is to talk about the 5 reasons why Def Leppard has won. And I especially want to call out this particular user who goes by the name of Junie B Films. Thank you very much for actually your latest comment, which actually urged me to maybe do a video about something like this, so which led me to actually come up with something a bit more than just the rock and roll induction. So just want to thank her a lot for that. And without further ado, here are the 5 reasons why. As a band, Def Leppard has endured its own sense of challenge and obstacles along its musical journey. But if you really look at it, as a band that has suffered so much tragedy from Rick Allen's accident, the death of Steve Clark, the various illnesses, the ups and downs, the shift in the music scene, the most recent being Vivian Campbell's battle with cancer and so on. But this is a band that has not only demonstrated a great sense of brotherhood, they've always demonstrated a great sense of integrity and value, and have throughout the decades that they've been active in, showcase a great sense of endurement, a great sense of wanting to push the boundaries of their musical ability, and also just to try and deliver the best kind of experience that is possible. And you have to hand it in for the fact that most other bands have probably called it a day and quit many years ago. But whereas this is a band that is not just interested in making money. No, they're a band about still going out there, enjoying themselves, having fun, engaging with the wider world of their fan base, and just making sure that they are able to leave a lasting impression wherever it is that they're able to perform and whatever it is that they're able to do. So I think that they are a band that has showcased that no matter what, you can actually give it your best, and think great things will happen. And I just want to call out one particular thing here, where I remember in 2002, one particular journalist had actually written that because at that time Def Leppard was obviously struggling with a major shift in the music industry. With just that, the person actually wrote that the only way for Def Leppard to survive would be for them to actually be the backing band for Shania Twain, who at that point was just this massively big up and coming country singer. I mean, she had just exploded onto a whole nother level. But obviously, from whatever I've read, that Shania and the band are very good friends. They obviously have a mutual connection there, which is Mutt Lang. But it just shows you, from being at a stage where people thought they were washed up act to where they are right now, it just shows that you give it your best, and the universe will provide you with a way. Now, I know a lot of people might actually want to point out the fact that Def Leppard, very often for their concerts plays kind of the same set list, with a few variations here and there. But if you really look at it overall, I mean, they are a band that have always tried to do something new and different with each new release, especially when you look at the post-Vault era, the Vivian Campbell era, with the idea of being that they would want to sort of use a certain blueprint, but at the same time experiment as well, like we saw in Slang, like we saw in X, go back to their roots and rediscover their musical inspiration with find a way in which to blend their traditional sound with something that has a bit of an edge, like we saw in songs on the Sparkle Lounge, and finally just embracing who they are and actually trying to up the ante with the self-titled album, which came out in 2015, which was Def Leppard. And more recently, I mean, if you look at the cover they did of Depeche Mode's Personal Jesus, I actually thought it was pretty good. I mean, I'll admit, when I first heard it, I thought it was a bit strange, but it just grew on me so quickly. I think it was a really, really good and wise choice of song. I think they did justice to it, and I definitely believe that they are a band that is all about trying to see how they can push themselves even further. Now, of course, I've mentioned this many times in the discographies about how different people have different views on different eras of the band and about different albums and so on. But overall, you have to hand it to them for the fact that they have never decided to just sit on their laurels and just enjoy past glories. They've actually tried to push themselves and see what else they could actually do. So for that, I think they deserve a lot of credit. It's funny because a lot of stalwarts in the industry say that for a truly great band, you got to see that they have to be a road band. They have to work the road, get out there and tour and so on. And I think the amount of touring that Def Leppard does is truly commendable. I mean, they often, you can see the energy that they bring and the kind of reviews that they get, not just from official music critics, but also from the overall fan base and from other musicians, and from other people, who actually post up things on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it. Yeah, I did say LinkedIn. Believe it or not, I've actually seen some stuff there at some points. But the whole idea is that they're a band that has always been about how do we get onto the road, where do we go, how do we sort of get invited to a new place, a new venue, a new country and so on, and how do we really sort of deliver the goods out there. Now, obviously, we'd love to see them come across to newer places like India and maybe some other markets as well, and I'm sure that may happen. But at least they are a band that is all about trying to deliver the absolute best that they can. A key thing to note is that while we do recognize that many bands often always acknowledge their fans, but Leppard has always made it a point to try and engage with their fans as much as possible and try to appreciate everything about them. It goes without saying that they've always tried to do the most that they can, even in terms of when they're off stage. I know from a lot of people who have met the band and all that, say that the most down to earth, most open set of guys and so on. They're very easy to get along with. They don't have any airs about themselves, and they really appreciate people. They even take people who walk up to them and criticize them. And just sort of thank them for their feedback and so on. And I've heard stories about that. So I think overall, they're a band that has always put their fans first, have always valued them. And obviously, yes, I know a lot of people might say that, well, if they value us so much, why don't they put out a really kick-ass, High and Dry Part 2 record or something like that. But I think that more than just coming up with a very hard sound, they're just a band that has always tried to ensure that, whenever their fans respond, they try to listen to them. And they try to see, okay, how do they balance their own desires and expectations with what the fans want? And how do they progress, and how do we progress together, rather? And for that, I think, again, they deserve a pat on the back, because that is truly awesome. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, these guys were finally acknowledged by the wider Rock and Roll Hall of Fame community that they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and we saw that in March. And now the video of the HBO set is already out. Lots of people have actually watched it on YouTube and whatnot, and I've actually seen it, and I think it was a great speech that Joe gave. I would have actually loved to have seen the other band members also talk and say something, but I think overall Joe captured the essence really well, along with the wonderful introduction that Brian May did. And I think that when you take that Hall of Fame recognition, the Hollywood Boulevard star that they received way back, I think in 2001, and a host of other acknowledgements and so on, it's just amazing to see, because I remember very clearly around the time, like I mentioned, in 2002 again, when music journalists said that their only chance for survival was to be Shania Twain's backup band. Believe it or not, there were a few Rock and Roll Hall of Fame board members who actually very vocally said that, no matter how many albums Leppard had sold, they would never induct them, because they said we don't induct lame and stupid musicians into our Hall of Fame. Yeah, now I know a lot of you guys would be saying, well, the Hall of Fame is lame and stupid, but whatever said and done, if you look at the overall inductees over there, that's a pretty prestigious club to be a part of. And the fact that Leppard is now there, along with, the likes of, Bon Jovi and Van Halen and a whole bunch of other guys, I think that's amazing. It really shows the fact that, they've gone full circle, they've persevered, they weathered the storm, and they have finally reached a point right now where the industry, after so many years of criticism, neglect, and abuse, has finally sort of tipped the hat and said, okay, you know what? You know, maybe we were wrong. You guys are awesome. And I think that for a lot of us, that was amazing. And obviously, Leopard acknowledged the fact that ever since the Hall of Fame introduced the fan vote before the actual board voting process, I think for the first time in its history, Leopard received the highest fan vote ever. And that is amazing. I think it was more than 500,000, 540,000 something. And even though it's a minuscule part of the overall voting process, I definitely think it swung everything in their favor. And it just shows that, this was meant to happen. And no matter how hard the critics tried, you just can't keep the mighty Leopard away. They are going to win, and they did win. Well, guys, those are the 5 reasons why. So I'd love to know what all of you think. Definitely would like to know if there was anything else you think that should be included in this. Maybe it wouldn't be just 5 reasons. Maybe it might be 7 or 8 or even 10 reasons or 100 reasons why. But all in all, it's a lot of fun. It's great to engage with so many of you on a repeated basis. Some of you guys, I've engaged with you for the first time on the most recent videos. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and love to hear back. And as always, guys, rock on, enjoy yourselves, and hopefully we'll connect soon. Thanks.